All right, so we'll just have a conversation until you can completely ignore the camera.
Okay.
The only time I'm actually going to ask you to look into the lens is right now, and if you just introduce yourself.
Oh. Hi, I'm Mary Dolan, third grade teacher at Owen Elementary School.
Excellent. Alrighty, so let's just start off here. So we want to understand the decision you made in planning for this lesson and how it fits together into the unit and year. So the first part about this is, how does this lesson connect to and build on students' prior skills and knowledge? What was taught before this lesson and what will come after it? Discuss the sequence of lessons that surround this one lesson.
This lesson today was on two-step word problems. And so for the last couple weeks, we have been really working on all four operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and building a really solid foundation of those skills so that when they came to a word problem that had the different operations in it, we can become, the children are getting comfortable with words that they can identify in a word problem that says, oh, that's adding, oh, that's subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So the lessons prior to today have been all around adding, subtracting, number sense, just helping us build that solid foundation of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So we can solve word problems. And we've worked a lot on one-step word problems for the last couple weeks. For the last quarter, we have worked on word problems with one step using the four different operations. So that's kind of where we are and what has brought us to today's lesson. And for future, what will be in the future, more practice of identifying that important information. What do I need to look for? What can I help them know to spot in a number sentence or a number story that's going to help them solve the problem and be comfortable with the different operations. And we're going to continue to practice those multiplication and division facts.
Cool. I mean, that's pretty much it.
I hope I answered it. Will you tell me if I missed a part?
No, that's
okay.
Totally fine. I mean, this is just, because it's kind of a personal thing. You design the lesson plan and things like that. And I think they're just trying to get an idea when they watch the footage back. Just be like, oh, you're having the children build their own word problems. That's kind of unique because that puts it in their court instead of being like, here's the word problems, solve it, solve it. And
I think using the word problems, teaching them how to attack the word problem, that's been a big, we, did one step for a long time, but teaching them, to look at the word problem and they see real life people or real life things in those word problems. So that's why, I like to use names of other teachers or names of kids in the class or, familiar things that helps them. And I think, having to write their own word problem, which is what we'll be doing tomorrow. They'll be bringing in their word problems that they brought in, and we'll be sharing those. And what words did you use in your word problems to help us understand how to solve this problem, kinds of things. So
it's pretty cool. Okay, so in this lesson, let's talk about the standards or cluster targeted in this lesson. What did you do to make the lesson reflect the full intent of that standard or cluster?
The standard that the standard that we worked on today was two-step word problem. So it's OAD8, and okay, I gotta stop.
Sure.
Tell me again.
Sure.
What you just said.
Yeah. So this.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. So for this, we're just talking about the
today's lesson. Okay.
Yeah. So talk about the standards or cluster targeted in this lesson. And what did you do to make the lesson reflect the full intent of that standard word cluster?
The standard is for the students to solve two-step word problems using 4 operations. So what we have tried to work on in leading up to today is, like I said before, building those foundations of those different operations, because the standard wants us to be able to use all 4 of the operations in a story problem. So we need to be super familiar with adding and subtracting and dividing and multiplying, and being able to recognize what does it mean when we need to what is it going to say when we need to add, what does it need to say. So we've worked really hard on the pieces, individual operations, and that has brought us to today where we can, and we still have lots of work to do. We're not done with this work, but I think the standard wants the kids to be able to solve those two-step word problems, which is deep. It's hard, and I don't think that we've in the past we haven't been pushed. The two-step word problems are the problems in the past where those were the challenging problems. Give those kids that need extra challenges, but now all kids need to solve those two-step problems. And so I think that the standard is very deep. In fact, that in the fact that the kids need to know those operations very well in order to solve them. So I think it's an ongoing practice for kids because they're still working on becoming stronger in those operations. So I think the standard is forcing us to get really good at understanding multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And I think that I try to pull in various ways to help us understand that, and the strategies and things, the songs, the singing, and the drawing on the number lines, and the pictures, and getting them comfortable to share how they did something, because how Amina does something, it's going to help Alex, because Alex might be struggling with, he's still thinking this is adding and it's not adding, and she's going to help maybe show her picture. So I think the standard is really just forcing us forcing me as a teacher to make sure that my kids really understand and get what 2 times 2 looks like, or 4 plus 2 looks like, and the difference kinds of things. So
cool.
I don't know.
No, that makes sense, definitely.
I'm trying to sound really intelligent. And not my goofy self that you just saw me dancing around in the room.
I like it.
Cut that part out. No.
No, totally. That's great. So some of these might be redundant, but feel free to answer them again differently,
Okay.
or shorter, or just say, I already answered that. Sometimes people are like, I don't want that one. So this is the third part of this sort of questions section here, and the last part of this question section. Which of the core action indicators do you think this lesson best exemplified? And how did you plan for this? So which of the core action indicators of all the 3 core actions, or the specific core action 1 or 2 or 3? I think which of the core action indicators do you think this lesson best exemplified? I think, maybe just the ones that kind of were the forefront of this, that you felt were successful in this one. I think that in core action 1, where we're trying to ensure that the kids are working and the lesson reflects the shifts. I think especially the rigor and we've really worked hard on multiplication, and that's a new thing for 3rd graders, a new skill for 3rd graders. So I think, making sure that they're fluent in those multiplication problems. So I think, core action 1, where the kids are, I think today when they were working on 2-step story problems or reviewing their multiplication facts in the various ways, I think I always think I have that in the forefront of my mind whenever I'm planning my math lessons this year, because every day we practice
some way or somehow those operations, whether it be multiplication, division. But I think that, we have to, our standard that we're trying to meet is having the kids be successful at solving two-step word problems. And I think part of the indicators, does it focus on a grade level? Yes, it's on a grade level unit, and this specific standard comes through all the way. Does it go back to second grade? Yes. They were doing two-step word problems in second grade, one-step word problems in second grade. Did it look different? Yes. And now is it looking different because we have multiplication and division that are in place there. So every day it's intentional to target multiplication and get those kids fluent in multiplication. And I think, they're getting there. Even the ones that have struggled, they have strategies in their pocket to help them, know the fours, whether it's singing a silly song or, using their fingers to sing the song. So I think that, making sure today's lesson reflects the shifts, definitely. The coherence is there, the fluency is there. As far as, I'm gonna look down now. Mastering the content of lessons I think, in my class, and it kind of touches on core action 3, where is the atmosphere or the environment a place where kids can share their thoughts, share their thinking, show how I got 4, you got 4 a different way, I got it this way. And, I think it's a very comfortable atmosphere where they feel okay to share, even if it's wrong. We talk about the answers, sometimes the answer is wrong, but how you got there. And if you can tell how you got there, we can hear maybe where you had a little zigzag in your path. And so I think the kids know that. So I think, I think that really is, we use different types of, sharing and different types of management with partners and groups and whole class. And so I think that it touches base on a lot of the indicators in all of the core actions.
Cool.
I don't know if that was right.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm probably your worst one.
No. This is all. This is not for.
Not going to pass the test.
You're not hosting a late night talk show. You can.
Hey, I've been on a game show, so I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deal or no deal. You might recognize me.
Gosh. No deal.
I was actually just the no dealer. My brother was the big winner.
That's pretty cool. All right, so here's the number. So we have 4 total questions. You got through 1. We had these little sub questions. So you're through that one, and that one was kind of hard. So this one, we'll see how this one goes. This one's interesting. We are interested in how the shifts required by the CCSS are being incorporated into your classroom. Discuss how this lesson illustrates the shifts required by the CCSS.
Well, I kind of already talked about the shifts as far as this lesson incorporating the shifts. I definitely think that the focus, the standard is a major focus. It's a major standard within the Common Core for 3rd grade, 2-step word problems, and the fluency is in there with the rigor and the coherence with taking what they learned before, whether it be in 2nd grade the year before or just in the past couple weeks or the past couple months. They're using that knowledge that they've learned and trying to carry it over to our classroom, problems or problem solving, and to everyday, real life situations. We talk about how the story problems are real world, and I think that I gotta stop. I think too the continuous practice of that basic fact knowledge, the rigor. The rigor is there because we're helping these kids. The Common Core standards are helping these kids not just get the facts and memorize the facts, but understand what they mean, what they look like, and how they can look this way over here in Amina's story problem, how she's solving it, and how Alex is solving it over here. So I think that it is more focused and more in tune. We're able to focus on this wide instead of this wide, and before we were miles wide and a centimeter deep, and you just were worried about getting to the next lesson or getting to making sure you got through all the units. And now it's like, what, it's this wide, but it's deep. And yeah, do they know what 2 times 4 is? Yeah, they know it's 8, but they know what it looks like in a picture, in words, kind of thing too. So I don't know.
Cool. Well, that's nice because you sort of answered the second part of the question was, and you can expand on this if you want, but how do you excuse me, how did you teach the content of this lesson prior to the CCSS? What is the same? What is different?
Well, today's standard was 2-step word problems, and so how did I teach it before? I don't know how much we did really teach it. I mean, we've always taught word problems and story problems, but was there a specific, did I feel like there was a specific standard or skill that the kids know? In today, we teach these this 2-step word problems. We're solving these 2-step word story problems. Everybody is responsible for learning it and knowing how to attack the problem and finding strategies and learning strategies from the teacher and learning strategies from their friends within their math classrooms. Before, 2-step story problems, those are those in the books for the high students, for the really high achieving students that finished they finished their work, and I think I can say that seems to be with this specific standard. That before it was, the extra work. If you're done, try this more challenging problem. Now, everybody is trying the challenging problem, and everybody is learning how to solve the challenging problem, not just, a small group of people or a small group of students in the class. Everybody is at the same level. Their expectations are the same. You are all going to be doing this, and we're all going to be thinking and learning about this.
Cool. Excellent. All right. So now on to 3. Student engagement is critical to the work of CCSS. We want to understand how you ensure that all students have the opportunity to productively engage in the work of the lesson. I can read that again. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a late day.
That's okay. Me too.
Yeah. So student engagement is critical to the work of the CCSS. We want to understand how you ensure that all students have the opportunity to productively engage in the work of the lesson. And that's the intro to it. So here's the actual question. How did the students handle this lesson? Did they understand the mathematics of the lesson? And how do you know?
I think that the students had some opportunities within the lesson to review things that we already know to help them. So they had tools to, go off and try it. I also think that that doing one together, myself modeling, but also using the students out there modeling their thinking and modeling what words to look for, what was a clue that you need to add, what was a clue that you knew you needed to multiply, and the kids sharing those out loud prior to sending them off to give it a little try themselves. I think that, I know that it's engaging because they have to pay attention. They have to pay attention to their peers. They have to pay attention to the words on the page. And if, and do things they've been given. We talk about the different things we need to do to attack the problem and find out what were the clues to help me solve this. What made me think it was adding? What made me think it was subtracting? And I think, me being able to see and hear friends thinking, in that intro part or in that one we do together, the practice problem, before I send them off to their groups or send them off by themselves, I think observation for the teacher is huge. I can walk around and hear them talking, using math talking. What do we need to do next? So I think that's how I feel like I know. I know when kids know things by watching them in the heat of it and listening to them and hopefully stumbling upon when there's a misunderstanding or a misconception in their thinking. And hopefully, it's good also to hear their peers in them, helping them discover like, oh, wait, this is not adding, this is multiplying, and here's why, kind of thing. So I think, I try to do things in class all together, listening all together, then doing it with our small groups, doing it with a peer, doing it by yourself. So they have lots of different opportunities to, figure things out in different types of situations. And I think, that's more valuable for me as a teacher to learn from them, to see that and observe that, than sometimes the test paper that they do at one time and they get it right or they get it wrong. I know more from the setting in the classroom and their interactions, whether it's by themselves or in peers or with peers or partners or groups kind of thing. So.
Cool.
I don't know if I answered it, but.
No, that was good.
Do you edit the ums?
Oh yeah, well yeah, it all gets edited down. We have so much footage. Don't worry, you can take your time. Actually, we're kind of on the home stretch here. This is good.
Oh, yay.
And you're kind of answering a lot of the questions, like multiple questions in answers, so this is good. So like I said, if anything seems redundant, we can shorten and move on.
Well, if you think I'm saying something over, you can give me the.
Sure. So let's see. This one's kind of similar, but did all students have opportunities to work on grade level content? If all students did not have this opportunity, please explain why.
Can you say that one more time?
Sure. Did all students have opportunities to work on grade level content? If all students did not have this opportunity, please explain why.
In today's lesson, all students were working on grade level content, except for I have one student in my class that's working at a pre-kindergarten level. So that person, is she working on story problems? Definitely she's working on story problems, but she's not working on two-step story problems because it's not right for her at where she's at right now. So she's working on one-step problems. And she has learned from her peers to draw. She can sing the songs. 99% of the kids, they're working on the grade level content for today. One particular student that comes to my class every day in math, she's not working at grade level and way below grade level. So I try to take whatever the standard is and put it at her level, not to water down so she's getting less, but to lessen the intensity of the skill so that it can be understood in her eyes, in her language, so she is learning and it's not just overwhelming for her kind of thing.
Excellent. All right, and then so we're going to talk about core action 3. The question is, which behaviors from Core Action 3 did students best exemplify in this lesson? What actions have you taken as a teacher to make this happen?
I need to think for a second.
Sure. Cut the camera, right?
I think with Core Action 3, it's giving students opportunities to practice the math, and make connections with the content that's being worked on that day or today when we worked on two-step word problems. So I think every day in math, I try to give the kids, and I might have already said this, but I try to give the kids different situations to work on whatever the content is that day, whether it be by themselves, whether it be with one of their peers or a group of peers, or maybe just with me at that time. And then those are times where I can see those behaviors of kids. Oh, are they getting it? Oh no. And like today, I think there was a few friends that, when we were trying to figure out if it was multiplication or division or adding or subtracting, there were students that were sitting at their desk. It was a partner share, and they were working on just one-step problems as a little warmer-upper before we got into the two-steppers. And I could see that the person, she had written out a beautiful story problem, but it was definitely adding and not multiplying, and we were looking for a multiplication story problem. So, having that opportunity to observe her and work with her and say, what can we do now? Does this mean 3 and 7 in a pile, or is this 3 groups of 7? How can we? She then can think out loud. With me at that time, I was able to notice that. So I think making sure kids, me looking around and circulating and running around the room and listening and seeing kids and noticing their behaviors when they're doing well and when they are struggling. And sometimes they don't even know that it's not the path they need to be taking. So helping them try to get back onto the path of going to multiplication. With this example, I could say to the girl, "Oh, was it 3 packs of 7, or is it 3 and 7? Because wait, what problem are we trying to illustrate here? We're trying to do 3 times 7, or 3 plus 7. Which one? 3 times 7. Oh, so it looks like she's going to have 3 and 7 here. How can you change your words? And hopefully, if she can't come up with the word, I can help her. And today, that one person that I noticed, she was able to come up with the word packs or whatever the story problem was. So,
yeah, this seems good. Seems good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. All right, this one's kind of fun.
Oh, great.
Would you like to comment on any of the submitted student work? Was there anything that delighted or surprised you with this work?
I think I was surprised with the variety of ways that the groups solve that two-step problem. I knew there would be, a few ways for sure, and I thought it would be repeated more. And I was trying to squeeze in more sharing because I was really surprised I think I said one more more than one time in the lesson, because I was surprised, because I thought really in my head when I was thinking about this lesson ahead of time, I was thinking, time factor, but I thought, there's not going to be really more than 3 different scenarios how kids are going to solve this problem. And I think when the kids came up, there was one group, she used base 10. There was another group that used, repeated addition. And I was surprised at the variety. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow to looking at the rest of the kids that didn't share today to see if they had similar, because it seemed like friends kept raising their hands that they had a different way. And sometimes in 3rd grade, even though you think your way is different, it's not always different. But so I was surprised that they used a lot of things that they have learned throughout the year and in their past with math, multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. So yes, it was good.
Cool.
I thought so.
Yeah. No, it's always fun to see what they come back.
I was really surprised. I mean, especially the one that had the base 10 blocks and the base 10, I mean, we obviously have talked about, place value and all those things, but I think for them to pull that out, it's pretty good. I thought it was good thinking on their part. So.
That's great. Okay, so we're on the last two.
Am I taking like extra long?
No,
okay.
no. I like to give people progress reports just because.
Oh, good. No,
if you look at it, you're like,
I know.
How far do we go?
I know.
It's like,
You're like checking off with your pencil.
No, it's good. And this is sort of just the wrap up. Great instructors are continuously learning. We want to understand what you celebrated in this lesson and what you would improve on. So reflecting on this lesson, what worked particularly well and what might you do differently?
I think that as far as reflecting about what maybe I would do differently is I think I spend a little less time on the review part of, making sure that kids, could guess what operation was in this problem. I would have liked to have a little longer time to give them another practice problem in their group or by themselves or with their partners. So I think that I would, shorten that up a little bit. I think that would, so they could jump right into trying the two-step problems and have more than the opportunities, more than the problem opportunities they had just in this lesson. But other than that, I think that as far as celebration, or I would say, I think that it's a celebration for me to know that, the work that we have been doing this whole year on all of, learning I've said it before, learning the operations and understanding the words that go with those operations and story problems. I think that, it's refreshing to hear the kids talking and talking about, no, we need to add here because of this word. It said all, or this, equal, per. They're using the words that they know, or how many more. They find those tricky words like, today in one of the story problems, it was so-and-so ran less miles, finding that little word less, those sneaky words more or less in there. So I think that, they were able to do a good job and work together and help each other figure out the problem. And I think they did a good job explaining their answers too. So, and they're pretty good. They like to talk, like their teacher.
Excellent. All right. Well, here it is, the last one.
Oh, is it a hard one?
No, this one's fun. Were there any surprises or unexpected student behaviors or reactions?
It's an active group. I think, there wasn't any surprises. There wasn't anyone that made bad behavior choices or made poor choices. I think there's kids that make choices that aren't always the best in math class every day, and I don't think they, I think they were a little like, being in the room today specifically today, maybe at the beginning they were a little, but I think once they got going and on their thinking, I think they wanted to show what they know. And I think that's what, or show what they've been working on to help them, solve the problems that we had today. Do you want me to just talk about today, like lesson behaviors, or just behavior, like?
Anything that kind of pops in your head. I mean, it's mostly about today, but if there's something that surprised you in the past.
I definitely think that, every time you have a classroom full of students, you have, obviously different personalities and little quirks and behaviors. And I think the people who have the little quirks and behaviors, and they were there because I could see them, you know. The friends that maybe not necessarily always, you know, you have always the kids that want to share and want to talk and tell what their thinking is. But I think today there was a few kids that raised their hand that really wanted to share and or read the problems out loud. And, you know, I don't know if that surprised me a little bit, but I was happy to see that they had that comfortableness. They felt comfortable to show their thinking or you know, get engaged into what the problem, read the problem, raising their hand to volunteer to read the problems. Like there was definitely some friends there that don't ever do that, that I call on them. So I thought today that they did a good job. So, you know, I like my job and I like kids, so I think that, I don't know, you gotta just make it fun, and we have fun. We learn and we have fun. And so I know everybody's doing their own little things sometimes, but they know when it's time to get down to business, because that's how the climate has been set for them, I guess. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can tell. I mean, when I watch your class, I can tell that you really love what you do. The students really follow you. You know, I've seen a lot of disengaged teachers in my past, and nothing really gets done. But it's always nice to see someone with your style. Definitely, I love it.
So, anyways, is that it?
That's
Is that
it.
a wrap?